My number one exercise for hamstring growth is not a stiff leg deadlift. And if your lying leg curls are giving you lower back pumps instead of your hamstrings, you're doing them wrong. And I'm gonna show you exactly how to fix it. I'm John Jewett, IFBB Pro, registered dietitian. I've coached some of the top pros in the world on the Olympia and the Arnold stage. Today, I'm gonna show you the 3 exercises you actually need for hamstring growth. Fix the biggest mistakes in each one and show you exactly how to program them so your hamstrings actually grow. Now, your hamstrings are made up of 3 main muscles. They all cross the hip and the knee, except one portion, the bicep femoris, that only crosses the knee. So what this means is they bend the knee and they extend the hip. If you wanna fully train them, you need both, something that hinges the hip and something that curls the knee. Let's dive into my top hamstring pick first. Most people either skip the seated leg curl or turn it into this sloppy movement where the hips are just moving all over the place. The seated position is key though. Your hips are flexed, which puts the hamstring in a fully stretched position. That's where we see the most muscle growth. You can get length from hinges too, but here you're not limited by the glutes, the spinal erectors, or systemic fatigue like hip hinges can create. This is my top pick for a hamstring builder. But let me show you how to make it even more effective. Drive your hand forward into the thigh pad and down, like you're trying to push it away from you. Contract down on the abs. That locks your mid back into the pad as we only want to move at the knee. Make sure your knee lines up with the machine's pivot. If it doesn't, you'll feel the pad shifting up and down on your leg. Also, make sure your knees are pointed up into the pad. The knee is a hinge joint, so if those knees turn out, you might start getting some knee irritation. Now push the thigh support down tight, and before every rep, drive your thighs up into the pad. And from there, just curl without letting anything shift. If your hips are moving, you're losing tension where it matters. Now here's the one most people are screwing up the worst. If your lying leg curls give you a lower back pump, here's exactly how to fix it. The problem, you've lost your anchor point. So instead of loading the hamstrings, you're just moving the hips back and forth. 3 things I want to fix right now. First, go single leg. That cleans up a lot of compensation as you'll have to go a lot lighter. Second, grab the handles and pull up and back. That locks your torso down and braces your abs. This prevents your hinge from rocking. Third, as you curl, drive your knees down into the pad. Don't let them lift. And bonus, if you get knee pain, make sure your knee is pointing straight to the ground, not rotating out, just like we learned in our seated leg curl. Now, most people miss this. The lying leg curl is your chance to train the hamstring fully shortened and can build more of that distal hamstring down by the knee. That's what gives you that hamstring drop. So while the seated leg curl is your main builder, you still need this to train the hamstring fully shortened. Now, before I get to the lift everyone struggles with. So what is this struggle lift? The hip hinge. You don't feel your hamstrings in a hip hinge, you feel your glutes, your lower back, or nothing at all, or your sole. Usually 2 things are happening. You're bending your knees too much, so the hamstrings aren't really lengthening like a conventional deadlift, or you're moving through the spine instead of actually hinging at the hips. Here's how I want you to think about this. Brace your core like you're about to get punched in the stomach. Keep a slight knee bend, but don't let it turn into a squat. Twist the bar apart to engage your lats. Now push your hips back only as far as your hamstrings allow. If you can't reach the floor, that's completely fine. The goal is not range. The goal is to get into a deep stretch in the hamstrings under loading. Then come back up, keeping the same tension the whole way. So how do we take all this hamstring movements and put it into a program together? So if your goal is hamstring growth, you don't have to rely on hinges. You can fully develop the hamstrings with seated and lying leg curls, especially if your glutes and your erectors are already strong body parts. However, you might want to at least opt to try a 45-degree back raise to get some type of hinge work in place. But for most people, here's a simple structure you can do. Train hamstrings twice per week. Day 1, do a lying leg curl in a stiff leg deadlift or RDL. Day 2, a single leg curl into your seated curl. Run 2 to 3 hard sets per movement. That puts you right around 8 to 12 quality sets per week. Now these are hard working sets, not warm-up sets. If your hamstrings are lagging, train them first.